right. What's up, Honolulu Blues listeners? This episode is sponsored by the app Autograph. Use the code GOLIONS, one word, when you sign up. The only app that scours all social media platforms to bring you all of your favorite team's content, keeping you as up to date with the Lions news as Dan Campbell himself. Autograph also has fee-free tickets. Yeah, you heard me. Stop buying $100 tickets with $300 worth of fees added on top. It's time we start to normalize not paying for fees on our tickets. Go to the app Autograph to get your fee-free ticket. Autograph's co-founder, Tom Brady, is also giving away a signed TB12 football. To get entries to win it, just go to Autograph and play in their Survivor Pool Weekly Challenge. Earn an entry for every week you correctly guess an NFL team that will win. If you lose one week, no biggie. Just come back next week and try again. Earn up to 18 entries, and maybe you will have a Tom Brady signed football at your house. Just download the app Autograph and use the code GOLIONS.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a cold, just day, week, days. It's a bad time in Detroit right now, and that's a crazy thing to say as our team is still 12-2. But we got to be real with it. We had some injuries. Things were brutal. We got Julius working overtime for us out of the old work truck. Julius, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing quite well, my friend. Besides the fact that the Lions are on a losing streak, I'm happy to be here.
Is a game really a streak, though?
A loss is a loss. It's
A
always
loss is a
streak.
loss. Don't manifest.
It feels like a streak.
If you come home from work and there's a little bit of brown on your underwear, you know, you didn't like poop your pants, but it's just a streak, dude. You know what I mean? Like, it's a streak. So.
That was A+ analogy right there, Nick. How you doing, my guy?
I've been better, man. I'm terrible, actually.
Haven't we all? Oh man. But we got a lot to get into. We're just gonna get right into the nitty-gritty, the ugly, the bad and the worst, I guess. And that is the 4 injuries we had on the game last Sunday. First, it was Khalil Dorsey. That looked ugly. We all knew immediately. Season's over. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. You know, depth cornerback, it was like, all right, another little body punch. Then Carlton Davis didn't come out for the second half. And we're thinking, does he have, you know, this is probably going to keep him out of the game. Maybe, hopefully, he'll be back next week. Then Ali McNeil, I don't know why, but he decided to block a Josh Allen pass. I don't know what he was doing, but honestly, he jumped up in the air, landed on one foot. As a dude that size, Aleem, you can't do that, man. You're a big boy. So Aleem, torn ACL, out for the season. Likely won't be back for week 1. I wouldn't expect it, but maybe. So that's that. And then the cherry on top, David Montgomery, dealing with an MCL injury. There's a lot of speculation right now. This is the most update news I just got. He was at his local coat drive. They asked him about surgery because Dan Campbell said he was going to get surgery. And he said, no, I'm not getting surgery and they're not putting me on IR because I hope I'll be back this season, which to me tells me probably not. But I got that. So you're telling me there's a chance. Like, all right. And if David Montgomery and Aiden Hutchinson suit up for the Super Bowl, oh my goodness, this city will explode. It'll be fantastic. It's the dream scenario, but we just got to get there. So, Nick, I'll talk to you first. Pick an injury. Any of the 4 guys. Which one gutted you the most? Which one are we going to miss the most?
Trying to boil that down to like one. I think Aleem McNeil really stands out as like the injury that yes, no. Carlton Davis is right up there too. I don't know. It's so crazy, dude. It's so crazy. I think Aleem McNeil is tough, dude. Torn ACL. I knew it as soon as it happened. You saw him gritting himself. He was like trying to squeeze his helmet, and I've seen that injury. I've torn my ACL. I know what it is. I know what the walk is like after it happens. I saw it. It was so gut-wrenching. We're gonna need like Reader. I don't know. Our just defensive line is just so banged up, and we get some guys back, but we looked so bad against Buffalo. I truly believe that Aleem McNeil was our shining bright star throughout defense, throughout all the injuries that we have had to deal with. And yes, our safeties are amazing, but I don't know if our safeties are that good if Aleem McNeil doesn't create the pressure along with DJ Reader inside that these boys were creating when together, or if they were by themselves, then they were still creating a huge impact. We need Reader healthy. We need Aleem to be better for next year. We just do. Like, I'm not saying this year's over, but it is for McNeil. And next year's a whole nother year where, honestly, I think we're going to be even better than what we are right now. If like, there's no way we get hit by an injury bug this bad again. Like, no team's ever been hit this bad. So my thoughts are next year's just going to be amazing. I'm still in it for this year, but Aleem, just get better, dude. We wish you the best of luck. Go do some singing.
Yeah, definitely. We need some dream albums dropping soon. Julius, if not Aleem, who is the biggest, Carlton or Monty?
I feel like it's Carlton Davis, just simply because Terrion Arnold, the rookie, will be thrust into cornerback 1, and Kendall Vildor is now the permanent playoff cornerback 2. It just puts us in a tough spot. Carlton Davis was our safety net against some of the best receivers we went against this season. He made a lot of big plays. I just feel like with already not having Aiden Hutchinson and then losing Aleem McNeil, you want your secondary to be as strong as possible. And that's just like a killer, man. It's a killer in all directions. Our defense is effed. I'm just telling y'all that right now. Our defense, we might as well revert back in our minds to like 2021, 2022, even last year, 2023, when our defense was our Achilles heel and our best shot at winning was to outscore the opponent. So, I don't know if our safeties can carry us. Kirby and Brian Branch are still healthy, but losing Carlton Davis just sucks, man.
Yeah, it almost feels like we're literally right back where we were a year ago today, where we were heading into the playoffs. Our team was slowly getting more injured. Vildor was our one of our starting cornerbacks. We didn't really have it's tough because Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph have really taken a step up. So it's like them from last year is almost the same as the same production that we're going to get now with the entire team, where it's just like we don't have as much talent. And it's going to be tough sledding. But I kind of agree with you, Julius. We need more offense. More offense is the only cure to this bad defense. The one kind of glimmer of hope I have is Jahmyr Gibbs is going to show that, Nick, you're correct, that he's the best running back in the NFL. I believe he's going to go absolutely ballistic these last 3 games, put the team on his back. And the Eagles, they did something against the Steelers that was just so impressive, and the Lions need to take notes. In the entire second half, they allowed the Steelers to have 2 drives. The Eagles controlled the ball the entire second half. They even had a 10-minute, 21-play drive to end the game. So it's possible. It is possible to control the clock, to absolutely just turn shoot clock on, have Goff snap it with 5-6 seconds left if we're, got any type of lead, and just trust that the offense will just always be able to answer back and hope we have the ball in our hands in the last possession, I guess. So it's getting tough.
It's getting real tough. Real quick, just a fun little stat. This isn't fun at all. I don't know why I just phrased it like that. But this is a stat that is real. From the week 5, the Dallas Cowboys game till Thanksgiving, the first half of Thanksgiving. Okay, that is 30 quarters. That's 7.5 games. So that's 7 times 4, 28 plus 2, 30 quarters. We allowed 101 points. In the last 10 quarters, the last 2 against Chicago, Green Bay, Buffalo, we've allowed 99 points. So pretty much the exact same amount of points in the last 10 quarters as we allowed for an 80 quarter stretch or a 30 quarter stretch. So the third. So that's where we're at right now. And the injuries started happening in the Bears. Sure, the Hutch injury was tough, and we were dealing with some injuries here and there, but it was the Bears game, and then the Packers game, and then the Bills game. We got depleted by, 12 or 14 injuries, like out of those 3 games, like just disgusting.
Even right before the Bears, the Jaguars injury, not Jaguars injury, but Alex Anzalone broke his forearm in the Jaguars game. And that was tough. I'm starting to think Ford Field might be cursed, boys. And a lot of people are saying, Anzalone, broke his forearm. Carlton Davis broke his jaw. That's not because of the turf. But there were a lot of injuries that were leg related that it just seems weird. There's just something going wrong with the Lions medical staff. We're practicing too hard. Guys aren't getting enough rest. Whatever, the turf. But to have 29 different starters on defense, it's not normal. It's not, a thing we see by one team every year. This is something you'd see every, 20, 25 years where a team gets, plagued this hard. So it's tough, but that Monty news, boys, I don't know if or when you guys saw it, but right when I got that Shefty notification, I had the exact same feeling when I saw Hutch's ankle snap, where it was like, this did not just happen. There's no way. Like, this is not happening to us right now. We're in too good of a position to have all these injuries happen, because we knew about Davis, we knew about Aleem, Dorsey, and then Montgomery kind of out of the blue, boom, likely out the rest of the season, most likely out the rest of the entire season. So, but we do have a couple solutions. We did bring in former linebacker Anthony Pittman off the Jaguars practice squad. I do like that move. We have made a couple other just minor practice squad moves. But Julius, our Michigan man, Ambry Thomas, was just released by the 49ers, former third-round pick in 2021. Kicker is, he is coming off a broken forearm, so that is why he did get released. The 49ers just didn't want to clear a spot for him. So hopefully, if he is healthy, would that be a guy that you wouldn't mind bringing in?
Sure. I mean, nothing moves the needle this time of year. Nothing moves the needle. Do the Dolphins want to waive Jalen Ramsey and his contract? I'll take Jalen Ramsey with the Lions for a playoff run. But any kind of minuscule signing like that, Michigan man a beat he is, it's not gonna move the needle. We need the dudes that we have in-house already to rise to the occasion. That is our only hope on earth, boys. And listeners out there, that is our only hope, is if the players we already have rise up and circumvent the injury catastrophe.
I like this one.
What would you feel like if we brought in like Jerry Jacobs?
No. Seatbelt gang is dead. That died the end of last season. We gave up on him for a reason, bro. We got into a Twitter war because he was the worst rated cornerback in the NFL.
Kendall Vildor made Jerry Jacobs look like Jerry Jacobs. You know what I mean? Look like
that's true. That's true. And honestly, I'm hoping that, like I said, in roster, in-house guys need to step up. And looking at Emmanuel Mosley, a dude that every time he step on the field, he falls right off of it again. How about he stays on the field? How about he plays like his 49er form when we signed him initially, coming off an injury? That'd be great. He could be our cornerback one. He could take Arnold. Arnold could be cornerback two. Emmanuel Mosley has played good enough to be a fill-in cornerback one in the NFL. It just depends if he's ready to do that.
What if we went into San Fran again and brought back Chase Lucas?
I'll take Chase Lucas because he's been in-house before. He knows the culture. He knows Aaron Glenn. I'll take a guy that the only thing about Jacobs is he was ran out of town. Chase Lucas wasn't ran out of town.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a different kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm getting from Jerry Jacobs. Is he still salty about the whole situation? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just, it's just a little situational by player.
What about guys like Romeo Okora? Like, is he still on it? He's not on a team, right? Like,
No, I don't think he is on a team, and I'll take Romeo Okora. I'll take Julian Okora. They've been here before with Dan They've been here before with Dan Campbell. They've been productive before, and the question is, will they rise up to the occasion like we need them to?
Yeah.
Julian Okora is on the Cardinals right now, so no to him. I believe.
Practice squad or no? Because we can go poach any practice squad, dude. You know what I mean? I don't know. Are we talking about injuries? Like, is like Iffy and Mosley? Like, Iffy and Mosley are like
Mosley is back, and I think he's coming back for next game.
That's what I thought. Well, he's practicing at least, right?
Yeah, he's practicing. Iffy as well. Iffy just got back to practice. Mosley, I think, been back since last week.
Right.
So those two guys are two guys that can really help us get over all these injuries we have because they're like free agent signings, impactful ones.
Should we bring like Branch to cornerback?
I think that's what's
Brandon Joseph like play safety, right?
I think
anything we gotta do.
If he's about, like, Dan Campbell came on and said there's a chance he could play this week. I don't think so. I think there's a pretty good chance he plays next week against San Fran. But if he does come back, I do think we should move Branch.
Listen, we're talking about the secondary. I'm worried, bro, about the front seven. That's what I need some names in the front seven. Can you give me a name? Can I get a name? Another Romeo Guerrero? You got that? Because it's hard as hell to find interior defensive linemen that can make an impact like Aleem McNeil can, even a fraction of what Aleem McNeil can.
Yeah. Especially when you don't have guys like Aiden Hutchinson on the outside, like drawing coverage and stuff like that.
Marcus Davenport.
Yeah.
And speaking of Aiden Hutchinson, little good news for the Lions. He did go on Taylor Lautner's podcast, of all people.
He's a big Lions fan.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess I didn't know he had a sports talk podcast. But maybe it's just, he had Hutch on as a guest, something he brought up. Anyways, Hutch did say that he would be back for the Super Bowl. He told the boys, guys, get there. If you can get there, I'm playing. He is right on schedule, maybe a little even ahead of schedule. I'm pretty confident that NFC Championship game talks is kind of out the window. Maybe like a 0.5% chance he, plays or something, but I really doubt that. I think the Super Bowl, especially with that bye afterwards, is more realistic. But Nick, we've been kind of talking about it. What are some other solutions for all these injuries, and just how can we overcome elite teams like the Eagles, the Packers for a third time, and even the Vikings in Week 18?
Well, I truly don't know, especially let's just to say we get Anzalone back, I don't know, by playoffs, right? For first round playoffs, we'll say a bare minimum. I don't think our defense with what we have right now is worse than the defense that we had last year. I think last year's defense was worse. I think we weren't we had guys like Iffy, who's not right here right now, but could be coming by playoff, which is what I'm saying. Like, I think I'm really not that worried about our defense. Josh Allen tore us up. Guys, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's the best. And it's not like Patrick Mahomes, dude. Josh Allen's a different kind of freaking animal. Just because they got 48 on us and we couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed, and it was gross to watch. I'm not upset. I think, if anything, this is going to fire us up. Dan Campbell said it best this morning. It's just, we're going to take these punches, dude, and we're going to deal with it. We are going to have great opportunities for these new guys coming up. I don't think we need to sell the world. I don't think we need to go have guys. We need to have bodies, like, for sure. But I am not nervous, so I am not like panicking. I'm not thinking, oh man, we need to, like I said, branch at cornerback, let Brandon Joseph play, or if he plays safety. Get creative with Iffy at linebacker. Get creative with Jamal Adams at linebacker. Like Quan Alexander was not it. He is bad. He was bad. So like, get better. Aaron Glenn, make him better, or let's adjust that. That's the kind of stuff I would be like adjusting. But that's about it for me.
Now, Julius, I got a question for you. Do you think these injuries, that poor performance against the Bills, kind of on national TV, do you think this will hinder Aaron Glenn's chances at getting a head coaching job?
If it continues. So I got into an argument with Packer fans on Twitter today because of the upcoming Bears game, right? I and other Lions fans seem to believe that this Bears game is a good gauge. It's a good test, you know? Like if we get our butts whooped by the Bears, or if we lose, or if our defense plays very badly, if Caleb Williams goes off on them, then we can worry. Then we could worry. Then I'm worried about everything. The division, Minnesota, losing the first game of the playoffs immediately. If this Bears game, if we show up like that. However, I also believe if we come in and take care of business against the Bears, then the gauge moves to Minnesota, right? So what was your original question again? Just to get back to it. I kind of veered off there.
Aaron Glenn, do you think
Aaron Glenn. So right. If we have a poor performance against the Bears defensively, if the injuries are just too much to overcome, his scheme not living up to it, he's not motivating the guys, Caleb Williams goes off, then Aaron Glenn, his whole talk of being a head coach is gonna fall by like a tenfold by the week. Like if this is and it's unfair. It's not fair for nobody. It's not fair for the team. It's not fair for fans. It's not fair for Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. It's just not fair to us in Lions world that these injuries are happening. But it's really what's going to happen is Aaron Glenn is going to get judged by the numbers. He's not going to get judged by the injuries. And it's very easy to talk down a minority defensive coordinator who had historically one of the worst defenses in the league the last couple years where he was at. And, you know, it's just I could just see it happening. I could just see him. He'll be back in Detroit next year, which is all the better for us. But I don't believe that. I think we're going to show up against the Bears defensively. I truly do. I think the Bears are trash. And Aaron Glenn deserves a head coach position next year.
It's fate that this is all happening, and we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, and no one's going to leave because the job ain't done, and everyone comes back, and we go undefeated next year, and we legitimately, like, we don't have this injury bug. Like Hutch just breaks the record with like 20.
That is the outlook, Nick. That's the outlook, Nick. That is the outlook.
It's fate, dude. It's all fate, man. This shit happens for a reason. You know what I mean? So
if Caleb Williams comes out and throws 500 yards against the Lions and 4 TDs,
I'll be a sad guy.
Start thinking about our coordinators returning next year, baby.
For sure. But here's the thing also, which is why I'm not worried about our defense. And like truly, like we might allow like 31 to 35 points to the Bears. The thing is I even without Montgomery, I think our offense is so freaking good. It's so freaking good that we can score 42 and Jared Goff can throw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. And we might lose a game against the Bills, but we ain't losing that game. Scoring 42 points, throwing 5 touchdowns. Like there's not many teams you're going to lose that game to. Maybe the Eagles, maybe the Bills, maybe the Chiefs. Probably not the Chiefs. Maybe the Ravens, and maybe the Bengals. Honestly, those would be like
the elite quarterback teams.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly.
That can eat the Lions.
Playing Sam Darnold, do I think that the Vikings score points on us? Yes. Playing Jordan Love in the playoffs, do I think Jordan Love scores points on us? Yes. Do I think it's enough, like 48? No. So I think we're going to be in every single one of these games. If we play the Bills again, it's going to be a shootout, and it's going to be wild, but Hutch will be playing, and it'll be different.
Yeah, it's you're right, Nick. Sam Darnold is a completely different like species breed quarterback than
Just
Josh
is.
Allen.
He really is.
You watched Josh Allen make like stupid throws. He played so good in that game where I didn't even realize it. I saw a few clips on Twitter where Bills fans were posting it, and there were two throws he made that were so good that even if we had Carlton, everyone healthy, he makes those throws every single time. If a quarterback can put the ball on the money, they're going to win 99 times out of 100. And the one time is the wide receiver drops it. And the one play was he was rolling left and he like sidearmed it, and that was the one to Dalton Kincaid where he does the boom boom, which ironically should have been called for taunting, but Lions don't get those calls. And
We don't need those calls. We lost that game. I didn't want to win on that taunt call.
Yeah, and he made another throw. It was the Ty Johnson one when he ran the wheel route on 4th and 2.
That Ty Johnson revenge game was not something I had on my bingo card, but man, oh man, was he pissed at us for not keeping him, dude. Golly.
If you told me Ty Johnson was going to be the leading receiver, I would have been like, oh my God. So the Lions blew them out, right?
Right.
He had 111 yards, and it was mainly like 2-3 big plays on Quan Alexander. But after that first one, like that first throw he had, we should have done something. Said, hey, Kirby, Branch, keep an eye on Tyler Johnson. This dude's sneaky.
They're gonna target us from now on because of that. They're gonna target us with pass catching running backs. They're gonna target our linebackers.
I don't know. Yeah, they will because our linebackers are tough right now. Going into that game, we had the number one defense against opposing running backs catching the ball. Like,
did we really?
Oh. Yeah, the number one in yardage. Like, I get what you're saying. I think that's just not every quarterback we play. We're gonna have to spy like Josh Allen. So I don't think we're gonna have our linebackers just sitting there like on a fucking lily pad.
You're right. The Josh Allen effect, people don't even realize.
It's so real, dude.
Only he could have won that game. Only he could have beat Jared Goff in that game. Only Josh Allen.
Yep. I think him and Lamar Jackson are really it. Like it's crazy.
I'd throw Mahomes in there too, but
I wouldn't. I don't think Mahomes and the Chiefs right now could score 48 points. I don't think
I
they
agree.
Can
I agree. I would not put Mahomes on that list. Lamar Jackson.
4 years ago, I'd put Mahomes on that list, but I'm not.
Maybe on a good day, Jalen Hurts.
See, I don't think so either. I don't think they can do it. They need to rely on Saquon. They couldn't get into a shootout. I think the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow could put up 50 points, and we could lose 50 to 40. But that's fine.
That's true. I guess where I was looking at is if you put Mahomes on the Bills, which obviously makes a huge difference.
Man, Mahomes doesn't run like Josh Allen, dude.
Josh Allen is an alien, bro.
Yeah, Mahomes just gets away with a lot of cries and calls. I don't believe it. So I mean, to each their own. Agree to disagree, but I don't.
Pat Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen is Cam Newton. He's LeBron James. He's an athletic freak of nature that can throw the ball damn well. Like,
I can. Yeah. Better. He's. The reason we couldn't rush our edgers, we had to have our edges sitting on the contain. Our linebackers. That's why Ty Johnson went off like that. Again, this stuff doesn't bother me. When we get to see them in the Super Bowl, one thing is it's really hard to beat a team twice in the NFL. So. I'm happy that we lost this game. I asked Julius the question last week, and I don't know if I ever said anything, but I wanted one more loss before the season ended. Yeah. I did. I wanted a loss. I didn't really want it because I never want to see my teams lose. I think this is a humbling loss. We're going to be better for it, and we're only going to be angrier. Like, I think that after 12 wins, there's a little bit of a lull. And you might not think it, and Dan Campbell would never allow that in any meeting room. No way. Our Lions were grit all the way, focus, full details, blah, 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 blah. No, after you win 12, especially the last two, like with like crazy backups, there's a little bit of like we're going to win this game every game. And when you lose a game, you forget that. And you're like, shit, anyone can beat us. We're going to go beat them. And it could be a smallest percent. I don't want it to say it was a huge thing, but that small percent could help.
Bro, our injury report is the only reason we talking this way, because prior to this season, so many people predicted this as a loss on the schedule. It was one of the few games on the schedule along with the Niner game, the Niner game, maybe at Green
Cowboys,
Bay,
probably.
maybe the Cowboys. Those were the only losses that were even predicted. And if you would have told anybody, oh, the Lions lost 48-42 in a shootout against the Bills in that game, we're like, oh, cool. But since there's so many injuries on defense, it got everybody like doom looped.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
we haven't been able to panic all year. You know, that's what Detroit's known for, is panicking.
Listen,
so now it's
the
like
Bills
let's get our
in the
panic
same
up.
position as the Lions. They didn't gave up like 100 points in the last 2 games. They gonna need to outscore every team they play.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But nobody is talking about that because of the Lions injury report.
And we lost the game.
Yeah.
So another big, I guess, call in the game was the onside kick with 12 minutes left. 12 minutes, 10 minutes. There was a lot of time left. 10-point game. I think it was 12 minutes, 10-point game. Dan Campbell tries to go for the onside kick. I didn't have a problem with it. Now that I look back on it, I get where he was coming from, but it would have worked out a lot better last year. And by last year, I mean the rules from last year, where you did not have to announce, hey, we're onside kicking. It's a surprise. Get ready. It's an onside kick, because when that happens, it is so hard to recover an onside kick. But if you could catch a team off guard, literally kind of how we did on that second onside kick, where we damn near had that thing if Ezekiel Turner didn't need the ball back into Teron Johnson's, gut. There was a good shot the Lions end up with that ball in the scrum, and it was all because of a surprise. Jake Bates kicked it right down the middle instead of to the side where all the players were, and it caught him off guard. But Nick, what are some of your thoughts on a decision like that? And do you think Dan Campbell has to stay? We obviously know his fourth down calls aren't going to change, but do you think he's going to have to be that aggressive to the point of maybe a couple extra fake punts, maybe a 2-point conversion, or, a fake field goal or something like that, where it's more than going for it on fourth down?
Definitely. I think Dan Campbell is also the GOAT at that, so I have no problem with anything like that. I think this onside kick was egregious. I think it was a ridiculous call. However, that is me from a fan. Looking at it, it was like, and every single drive, I was like, we just need one stop, dude. But ultimately, with 10 minutes to go in the game, we just needed one stop. And yes, we couldn't do it. We ultimately couldn't do it. Hindsight 2020. That I hated it. However, the more I thought about it, the more I started to be okay with it, because on the opposite of you, Adam, because maybe he knew we had to have another onside kick later in the game. Maybe he was playing chess, and him and Dave Phipp were like, we're going to show this onside kick because ultimately we'll have to have a second onside kick later on, assuming they score on that drive, not assuming they just recover it to the 5-yard line and score. But we aren't going to stop them no matter what. Let's show an onside kick now. Let them score again. Not let them, but they're going to score again. When we have to go back to an onside kick, which will be the last one, everyone's mind will be thinking of how he put it up in the air, where it went last time. Are we going to do it again? And this is when you run the best kind of fake play, which is that like tricky onside kick. So I think it was a little bit of a chess play. I still don't like it. I still wish we would have just kicked it deep. 10 minutes to go in that game. We were down 2 possessions. Like, this game was not out of reach by any means. Yes, we couldn't stop Josh Allen, but it only takes one throw, one bad snap, one bad handoff. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So giving them the ball, not again, assuming they do not just take it to the 5-yard line, that's freak. You're still giving them the ball at the 40-yard line, which is just egregious to me in that situation. I like that Dan Campbell is gutsy. I like that it's Dan Gamble. I have no problem with our fourth downs. I have no problem with any fake punt, any fake field goal, anything like that. Announcing that you're going to like do a trick play-ish, that's what kills me. And it sucks that that's in the NFL now, but that is the rule. So I don't like that. At that point, I don't know. I don't know what you do. You fake one of those punts earlier in the game or something. Like, I think that was a terrible, terrible call. if it was all a chess play so we could try to get closer to that second onside kick, then kudos. Like, that's amazing. But that's just me trying to grasp at straws. Ultimately, this is the second loss on the season, and I think it's the second loss that Dan Campbell had a major hand in. But that doesn't mean that Dan Campbell hasn't had a major hand in 12 wins this year. So I am not mad. He's not on our hot seat. Like, he is just fine. But I just didn't like the onside call.
I've gone back and forth on this quite a bit. And where I am officially at is, like, I'm okay with it. Any call Dan Campbell makes, I back 100%, you know?
Yeah.
But I think he got a little too, you know, into the percentages where he thought, is there a better chance we get this onside kick than the Bills, who've scored a touchdown or points on every single drive, that we can stop them? And he opted into the onside kick. But what I would have liked is kick it deep and you bring the house 3 straight times. And if Josh Allen makes the 80-yard touchdown pass, so be it. But if you get just 1 sack, that changes the whole thing. So Aaron Glenn, Valenti actually made a really good point on this, where people were asking him to change, you know, play zone, blitz, do this, do that. But it's hard to adjust on the fly when you've been scheming one way for a team, when man's been winning the last 11 games, it's been working, and now you want to change it in the second half. It's tough to do, but I do think we should try something. When it gets bad like that, I want the Lions to just try anything. And I think that's what Ben Johnson was doing on offense. We saw the Dan Skipper touchdown. We saw that beautiful hook and ladder on the second to last or last drive the Lions had to Gibbs, where he, you know, ran an extra 20 yards. And Ben Johnson was pulling everything out that he could do to keep the offense in this game. And Aaron Glenn was just sticking to his gut. Sometimes that works, but sometimes it's just like, try, you know, anything else. But the onside kick, that was interesting play, interesting call. How I looked at it was, you're on the 4th story in a burning building. The only option is to burn with it or jump off. You know, jumping off, maybe you survive it, but you're not surviving it staying in that building, you know, calling for help or something. Yeah, aim for that's exactly
what do you think
what happened. We aimed for the bushes and splat. A complete other guy's situation. Julius, any thoughts on this onside kick, or just any, you know, thoughts on some of these trick plays or any aggressiveness that the Lions showed?
So actually, in game, I was an advocate. I was a big advocate, I think, starting around halftime or maybe even the second quarter, for going for the onside kick, not even trying to give Josh Allen the ball back. I saw very early on, right? See, Josh Allen, he's the ultimate blitz beater. And what do the Lions defense do more than any other team, NFL defense in the league? They send a blitz to the quarterback. Aaron Glenn has had some very, very good blitz schemes that's been very effective in allowing the Lions to have the number 1 scoring defense prior to yesterday in the NFL. And Josh Allen completely obliterated that game plan. And like I said, in the first quarter, I saw it. I was like, okay, this guy is going to score on every single drive. Matter of fact, our best chance to win in that game was when old boy Tyler Bass doinked that ball, missed the field goal wide left or whatever it was. That was our best chance right there. We were only down a score. And what happened? Yeah, what happened? I think, did our offense stall out? Was that the fumble?
Bates missed the field goal.
50-yarder.
Bates shanked the field goal, right. So it was pretty much a stalled offensive drive. And I coupled that with the first 2 drives of the game where we punted. And that's the reason we lost. That is the reason we lost. Because against a blitz beater like Josh Allen, when your defense has like 15 guys in the Acme IR, you have to not try to give the ball back to this man. As often as you can, you got to have the ball. and you have to score with the ball. And the Lions, I felt like around halftime, I was like, might as well start onside kicking this boy every time. And so in game, I wasn't really that mad about the decision. I was like, okay, I hope we get it. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty close. Honestly, Mac Hollins, he had like a 40-inch vertical leap to get that goddamn ball out the air, but it was headed straight for Lion territory. And if he would have got it, nobody would be bitching right now. Nobody would be bitching. And we almost got the last one too. So obviously our special teams, David Phipp and the special teams, Jack Bates, they're good at it. They're good at onside kicks. So against a guy like Josh Allen, I'm not even mad about the decision. It's Dan Gamble we talking about. I don't care about that. We lost because our offense stalled out 3 drives in the game.
That's true. We were not prepared going into that game. JMO ran the wrong route in the first drive. Like, that first drive needs to be executed perfectly, and we stalled the first 2. Like, we looked bad to start. You can't do that. That's not being prepared. That's not your team not executing. That's not being prepared enough. Our coaches, Dan Campbell said it. I'm not putting this loss on Dan Campbell, but he said it, and it's like I'm gonna emphasize it, dude. They were not prepared enough. He did not have them prepared enough. And the freaking Bills didn't even have practices this week.
Yeah.
They had Zoom practices all week, and they still came out and hung 48 out on us.
That's because of what the Rams did to their ass the week before. They were mad as hell. The Rams hung it on their ass.
I'd hate to be a Bears fan right now, dude. I would hate to be a Bears fan because I think the Lions about to go hang a fitty burger on them, dude.
Get right, baby, get right.
Yep.
Let's talk a little other NFC North. The Vikings just won last night. Julius, I got a question for you. What's your floor for the Lions to, at the end of the season, you're like, you know what, that was a good season. I'm excited for next year. Are we still in Super Bowl or bust mentality?
It depends on the Bears game. I am hanging my hat on that Bears game. I truly am leaning towards, yes, it's still Super Bowl or bust, because we have a Super Bowl or bust offense that can become our best defense. If our defense is, if it was just Josh Allen, okay? If it was just Josh Allen, and next week we take care of Caleb Williams like we supposed to, if we take care of the run game, I was really concerned about how much we gave up to James Cook in that game. Them inside runs, especially when Lee McNeil went out. Is that going to be a problem? Because if it is, that changes the identity of what we can and can't stop on defense. So I'm hanging my hat on this Bears game. Super Bowl or bust. Are we Super Bowl or bust? It'll show. If the Lions, what they built, the foundation, the identity, it will show in that game, right? And if it doesn't show, I'm moving on to next season. I promise to God. I promise the guy here right now in our next show, I will be moved on. I will give in to the football gods that this was not our year, dog. As much as I thought it was the first 12 weeks, even with stuff like Aiden Hutchinson leg snapping and stuff like that, I thought it was our year just a week ago. And I'm not going to give up on that unless they give up on that against the Bears.
All right, Nick, same question to you. I'm forcing you to make a decision. You cannot wait until the Bears game. What is the floor for you to be satisfied with this season?
Yeah, it definitely is still Super Bowl or bust. Like, it's make the Super Bowl.
Okay.
It's make the Super Bowl this year with the injuries. If comes Super Bowl, our defense has Hutchinson back and Anzalone's playing well and Iffy and Mosley and Carlton Davis and Montgomery and all these guys are playing, then it absolutely is win Super Bowl. But right now with the roster I have, it is absolutely still make Super Bowl. I've seen a team lose their quarterback week 16 called the Philadelphia Eagles and send in big Nick Foles, we'll go with, and win a Super Bowl against Bill Belichick when all odds were like, there's no way that Nick Foles, and that's not winning 16-3 like the Patriots went to win against the Rams. Like, no, Nick Foles hung like 30 on them, 40 on them. So crazy things happen. I saw Eli Manning come in as a 9 seed or a 7-6 seed and win the Super Bowl. Like, nothing's ever out. Our team is very good. Our coaches are very good. Our depth is very good. Our belief, our mantra is there. Our offense is amazing. We need to make the Super Bowl. Also, for a reason of this nature, I'm just going to list some guys out. Carlton Davis, Marcus Davenport, Kevin Zeitler, John Kaminsky, Emmanuel Mosley, Levi Onzawerki, Khalil Dorsey, Ife Melifonwu, Dan Skipper, Craig Reynolds, Trevor Nowaski, Brandon Joseph. You know what all these guys have in common? They're all free agents next year. It's a lot of free agents. And if you're going to replace Zeitler and Carlton Davis and Levi Onzawerki and even some of these depth guys, because Lord knows we need depth guys. Lord knows we need depth guys. And you can't, there's just a lot of new people we're going to have to bring in. Not saying that the window's closed or anything like that. It's just, I like those guys. And I think we can win with those guys. So I think that we need to win for those guys this year. So I think it's Super Bowl or bust this year. I'm not scared. I'm not quitting.
So real quick question, Nick, is there any showing the defense can give you against the Bears putrid enough for you to change your mind next week?
No, because I would resort to the excuse of these guys are getting back from injury. They're new on the team and just getting out of their first couple weeks of practice. Like Kwan Alexander, I'm not really I to badmouth him already, but I'm not ready to give up on him. No, I think we could go through the rest of the season having very bad defensive performances. We'll even say 35, 40 points to every team we play from here on out 3 straight weeks, and then go into that playoff game. And I think you're just going to get a whole new team. I wouldn't be worried at all. I would be worried. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not giving up, or I'm not
I'm just talking about the Super Bowl.
I'm just
talking about the Super Bowl or bust.
Right. I'm not getting rid of that mentality, no matter what our defense looks like for the rest of the regular season.
I like that. I like that faith, Nick. I like that.
Who's to say we don't, NFC Championship game, first playoff game, catch a team on a bad week? It happens all the time. We saw the Ravens lose to the Raiders. We saw there's been a few other big upsets.
It's not even just that. Last year, we made the NFC Championship game and should have won with Cam Sutton, who was the world's worst cornerback, and Kindle Vildor, who to Cam Sutton, Kindle Vildor looked like our best cornerback. He looked like our best cornerback last year. This year, the dude looks like he couldn't cover anything. Like our defensive line last year, we were sending out who's the guy we signed in week 16 that we were starting? John Comiskey was an automatic starter for us. Our defense was putrid last year. It was worse than it is right now, in my opinion.
One thing I do think that will happen, I truly believe that by the time the Lions season ends, we see one dude that wasn't a starter, maybe a role player, but I expect one dude to step up and actually be a potential starter, not just for the season, but next season moving forward. We see it all the time where 7th rounders, the best example, Brock Purdy. If Trey Lance was the real deal, we never hear of Brock Purdy ever. This dude doesn't exist. He may not even be in the NFL, honestly. But he got a chance. He got a shot. He proved himself. He proved he can play in the NFL. And we are going to see practice squad guys, dudes that have gotten cut, dudes on their final chance, that it's make it or break it now. You either step up and earn yourself a chance to be on the roster next year, or, you're a bust, stay a bust, and likely this is your last season in the NFL. So guys like, Quan Alexander, Jamal Adams,
David Long Jr.,
Ezekiel
Turner.
One guy I want to see who I haven't really seen I don't know if he's even been brought up since the Jaguars game. He did play a couple games, but Isaac Okuwu, he was a force in the preseason, had a couple sacks, was a solid defensive tackle, maybe defensive end, but he was a decent role player. So I'm going to keep my eye out for him. But ultimately, we faced the Bills, and they played picture perfect. If the Bills played how they played against the Rams, we beat them. They played sloppy on some aspects. They had a punt blocked. They weren't as sharp. And granted, when you do play teams like these, typically you do get, their best shot. But it's not always going to happen. And I do think that, it is get to the Super Bowl or this season is like maybe not a bust, but a major what could have been. And I don't want to think about any more what could have been. We've already had our Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, what could have been, and it's not fun. So on to the Bears, on to some predictions. Let's
last week, no one got points for picking the correct team, which means
Bills.
no one got closest to when it came to scoring. However, if we did do that, Julius would have won that too. He also won offensive MVP with picking Jared Goff. It's pretty easy to pick. He also won defensive MVP picking Brian Branch. So Julius got all the points last week, which is 2. Julius has a 28-point lead, or not 28-point lead. He has 28 points and is in the lead of the season. Adam and I are both at 25, so we are both chasing Julius by 3 points. If you're new to the show, we do a correct team prediction, a score prediction, an offensive MVP prediction, and defensive MVP prediction. It goes in order, and you can't pick a player that's already been picked. Adam will be going first. I will go second. Julius will go third. Adam, start us out.
I don't like going first. I feel like every single time I've gone first, it's just hasn't went well. And last week, I was kind of Nick. I was thinking about it. I completely forgot Julius said Jared Goff. I just wrote Julius off, and I'm thinking, I don't know. Amon-Ra had 193 yards and a touchdown. But Gibbs had 2 touchdowns. And I was like,
I would have said ASB over Gibbs, by the way.
Well, I would have countered back with the ASB fumble.
I just want to. Okay, I do want to hear what Julius would have said. Julius, if it was down to ASB or Gibbs, who would have you picked for MVP last week?
I would have picked Gibbs simply because of the Amon-Ra fumble, and because I feel like Jared Goff gave Amon-Ra a lot of those yards.
Shit, yeah, Amon-Ra fucking ran like a 40-yard or 80-yard touchdown. Like 40 of it, he went off, dude.
Gibbs
also had like 200 yards. What Gibbs have?
He had, I think, like 86 receiving.
It don't matter about getting in the end zone. It's about getting to the end zone.
It's not about the end zone. I just feel like Gibbs played well behind an offensive line that didn't have their best day.
No, they did not have the best day.
Speaking of offensive line real quick, Graham Glasgow, 34 PFF grade. Frank Ragnow, 43 PFF grade. The offensive line, Ragnow he's been struggling a bit, and I hope it's not age, wear, and tear catching up to him, because we all know Ragnow plays through everything. He very well could be playing through, a torn ligament or something ridiculous right now. We just don't know it. But
Ragnow's good. Let me tell you who's not good. Graham Glasgow. He got 8 alive by Ed Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Oliver, if he didn't play for the Lions, Graham Glasgow will probably get waived tomorrow. That's how bad Ed Oliver did him.
Yeah, it was gross, dude. It was gross. The trenches both ways. We lost, dude. We lost. That we didn't play Lions football.
I wanted Penny, and I mean, maybe he did, and it just, sometimes words just can't fix, a player's talent, essentially. But man, those Penny Sewell speeches before the game, I feel like those can amp up anyone. And hopefully, well, maybe not hopefully, because wouldn't have changed anything. Hopefully he didn't say anything, and now he's thinking back at, damn, I wish I would have rallied the O-line together, brought him, just the offensive linemen, just the 4 other dudes, into a circle on the sideline and just geeked them the fuck up. But
I got a hot take, guys. Word on the street from sources close to me is that Christian Mahogany is actually better than Graham Glasgow, and will usurp him by next training camp.
I hope so.
Good. That'd be a good draft pick then. I would love that.
It's just word on the street, though. Word on the street, don't take it
through the grapevines. Ooh, I heard it through the grapevines.
Another word on the street, speaking of, Amon-Ra supposedly had food poisoning the night before, which could have led to that fumble, that was weird. I don't really know how to explain. I think that was a good defensive play. I think Amon-Ra did the right thing in some sense, where he tried holding the ball out so the defender couldn't get his arm through, but he got it all the way through and just tapped it right out. And we really don't see Amon-Ra make mistakes like that. And then he had another a bad drop where it just hit his hands. Granted, that was right after he got clocked in the middle of the field, so that could have played something into it as well. Then he bounced
That
back.
was like his first drop in like what 85 years. Like
Years.
Calvin, we end games with Calvin Johnson, be like, that dude had 200 yards and he's the best wide receiver. Yeah, he dropped like 8 passes, but whatever, dude. He had 200 yards. On Ross St. Brown gets 200 yards. He drops 1 pass, and people are like, I don't know, dude. Was he even the best player on the field? No, I don't think so, dude. That fumble, he sucked. No, dude, it's just like he did great, dude. That fumble sucked. That hit sucked. Like the touchdown was great. We're all in this argument. Adam, get us going in predictions.
One last thing that sucked is Jared Goff he did his MVP performance. That was the game to put him into number 1 neck and neck with Josh Allen. If we win that game and Josh Allen doesn't play picture perfect, I think it's a two-man race, Jared Goff, Josh Allen. Odds would be very similar. 494 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's incredible. It truly shows the upside of Goff, that he's not just a game manager, not just relies on other players to make big plays. He threw one of the best passes I've ever seen him throw to Amon-Ra, that 65-yard touchdown, split 2 defenders, beautiful. Goff, in my mind, he's an MVP in my heart. But score predictions, I agree with you boys. I think we bounce back against the Bears. I think this offense comes out pissed. I think the defense shows up a bit. I feel like the Bears are broken. Caleb Williams is just a mess right now. Fun fact, he has not thrown an interception in probably like 270, 80 passes. It was at 256 before last night, continued it, and he might be due for one. So Caleb Williams, wouldn't be surprised if he had a bad game, and the Lions defense rally around that. I do think it will be quite a beatdown. Point spread is at 7 right now. I'm going to go, it is in Chicago, so weather might play a factor if it's rainy, snowy, because we are expecting some cold weather here in Michigan towards the end of the week. But I'm going to go 31 to, it's hard doing these like big, wide margin spreads, but 31-10. I'm feeling 31-10. Lions just stay in control. But what's going to happen is the Bears are going to go up 3-0. And all hell's going to break loose on Twitter. Everyone's going to freak out and be like, this is it. Season's over. And the offense is just going to rally the fuck back, dominate, go crazy. And so 31-10, offensive MVP. I got to go back to my boy, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think the script is just written all over the wall for him. We had, I want to say, like 13 rushing attempts for like 50 yards and against the Bills. Uncharacteristic for the Lions. Our only 2 losses have come when we've had very, very poor rushing performances. Even if we are down 2 scores, I still think we got to pound the rock. I know it wasn't really working, and Montgomery was injured, so it was a little tougher. But Gibbs, we are truly going to see that he's the best running back in the NFL. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes out and has a 3-touchdown performance or something ridiculous like that. So I'm going Gibbs. And on defense, last week, I got burned bad. I went with Darius Smith, thought he was going to be getting some pressure. I did not know that Bills had not allowed a sack in 3 games, now 4 games. So that was a nice little tidbit you delivered to me, Nick, after I made my pick. So I'm going to pivot off of the defensive line. And ironically, Darius Smith didn't play much. He played 43% of snaps. Kind of odd. Not sure if it was just, old age or what. Or I don't know. It was weird. But I'm going to go defense, obviously. Brian Branch. I think Brian Branch bounces back. He hasn't had a true takeover game in quite some time. I don't really think any one defender has had a monster takeover game. Probably, I guess this is Darius when he had a sack and a half a few weeks ago. But Brian Branch, he's going to step it up for this defense.
All right, so Lions 31-10, Gibbs and Branch off the board. I'll also take a Lions win. I do not think it's going to be a blowout. Divisional games are tough. It does not matter. They know how to score against us. They have already. I'm not going to say it's as close as it was last on Thanksgiving, but I'm going to say 30-23 Lions. And I'm going to go the thing is, it's going to be cold. It's going to be 20 degrees out. So do I take old double glove Goff or do I run it with the receiver? I almost want to be crazy. And I think the connection between Goff and Laporta really came through last week. It was nice. It was late. It was when we were down. He started to get it, but I just think JMO might be kind of held under wraps. ASB. I'm just going to go with the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to go with ASB. Bring it back for me. And then I liked Jack Campbell last week. I think he would have won Defensive MVP if Branch didn't just have a few more assisted tackles than him. I like going back to Jack Campbell. If Caleb's getting smarter, not throwing picks, that means Kirby could be tough. I'm going back to Campbell. Going back to both my picks from last week. ASB and Jack Campbell. I want the revenge win for both of them. Back to the well. Julius.
I am going with the Lions victory in Chicago. Lions 38, Chicago 17. I think that, like you said, Nick, Chicago knows how to score on us, but their offensive line is in shambles. I don't expect them to have a good run game, and I'm expecting some turnovers from the Lions. I agree with you, Adam. It's time for an interception, Caleb Williams' way. Offensive MVP. Since y'all leave me the MVP of the league, I'm going to take him. Jared Goff. Double gloved, I don't care. This game kind of reminds me of when we went to Green Bay at the end of 2022, and we were already kicked out of the playoffs because of the dumb refs in Seattle. And Campbell, he got the troops going, and they came ready to play and led by their man, Jared Goff. And I think that's going to be happening in this game. Defensive MVP, as much as I want to take Kirby Joseph, because I think he's due for another pick. I know he's got 7. You think he don't need no more. I think he's going to get 9 or 10 by the time of the end of the season. However, like I just mentioned, Chicago has probably the worst offensive line situation in the league right now. Give me that one Zadarius Smith to be the defensive MVP of this game, come away with a couple sacks, and really provide the pressure to be the catalyst to shut everybody up about the Lions defense moving forward, going to San Francisco.
I love it. I love it.
Go Lions, baby.
We need a bounce back win. As always, you guys can check us out on Twitter at Honolulu Blues _. Check us out individually at Everyday FFB for myself. Sadly, updating the Scott Fishbowl, my dreams were crushed by 1 point. I needed TJ Hawkinson to get 1 catch, would have put me in. There was also a few other mistakes. I blame Matthew Stafford for scoring 7 points in a 12-6 win. I think at home too. Ugh, you would have just had one more pass to Puka or something, anything would have got done. But check out my guy Nick Faber NFL. And as always, if you're on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're catching us, give us a like and subscribe. And as always, go
Lions.